so selfish. I'm being selfish. Do you want to see me? I came as a seamstress. To see how fine things song function. I'll never skeleton finish. So unfair. Of course it's unfair. We're women. Our choices are never easy.
Intense argument between a mother and daughter is a complicated of this love-hate relationship bonding against them. You know why? Well, as you know, you just seen the movie Titanic, which came out in 1997. So, time for me to back it up for that. Shall we? Learning the social etiquette of the time, more like a stuck up for that. Imagine your first class passenger growing up of this elegant world. Well, you might can have this moment for that, and a moment for this. Knowing when a woman cannot allow, like the rules saying you cannot do this in public, which is off balance for that. Knowing the facts of the social code when you're in upper class, the rules are meant to be. Knowing that women are not allowed to say everything, to speak up, only the men are allowed to. Knowing a social code that women cannot smoke in public, which is a forbidden taboo on norms, which is wrong. Well, you know the story, well, you know the film, and you know what it's about. But now I'm going to give you a little mannerism, not to mention the psychological detail between a mother and a daughter for that. Will you seen Rose getting trapped of this social etiquette lifestyle in which her mother craves of it, that Rose couldn't stand up, that she want to be free away from this norm, and not to mention the elite, to say the least for that. For Ruth in this case, she born and grew up in a Victorian era, that she came from upper middle class for this. And one thing that she wanted to secure is money and status. When she married her husband, which is the last name of the Decatur, knowing that the family are wealthy, and wealthy to say the least for this. Thinking that the Picayer family is absolutely owed money for that, or sort of this upper echelon, just like Ruth for this, that she is upper middle class for this. Sure, money and status is more important for this, and more important than marriage for that. Even the calm and physical of this attitude might be a foreign nature of stuck up that she was. Not too stuck up for that, knowing that she doesn't have a soul or a heart for that matter. We see when Ruth told society ladies of a huge lie by covering it up, knowing that after her husband's death, she ended up of this bar house for that. Ruth ended up lying to all her society friends about this wedding detail, about Rose's wedding detail, which is a cover up for that. But in reality, after Ruth's husband passed away, the family for his case, she and her daughter ended up his case, so my apologies to saying this vulgar of this repeat sentence. They end up poor for that. Money's gone and everything else is scattered elsewhere. Know that Ruth was a headstrong woman and telling all of her society friends about this money problem, about this wedding for this, instead of the money problem. But apparently, a woman never ever talk about money or business for this. That's only lead to the men only, and men only allowed to talk money as well as business and everything else for that. But the woman, you might talk about private matters, except for the money, of course. While Ruth ended up talking to all her friends about this upcoming wedding, Rose ended up seeing while looking at a mother and a daughter enjoying tea. And Rose ended up ignoring talking with her mother, hearing her mother and the society ladies chatting about it. Rose in mind of a young mother teaching her daughter of social etiquette. That Rose, for his case, that she might be end up becoming this society lady of teaching future daughters of becoming social etiquette of the status of wealth, in which that Rose couldn't stand of living in this society constructed world when wealth and status of social etiquette ruled of the wealthy people. Leaving the middle class might end up a mix for this of the upper middle class and the middle class or low class without manners, even posture or good graces for that. Either way is a stark reminder for this. A stark reminder what I should do. Thinking of what should I do for this.
I left the chicken patties in there.
Knowing that Rose might be ending up like them, of these society ladies, but apparently Rose wanted to be breaking free and breaking irresponsibility matters for that. Rose a reminder of her childhood, that she grew up of this social arrogance, of etiquette matters, of high moral and status for that. The young woman becoming of good wives as a pedestal of procession towards wealthy men.
Mary, you got an Amazon package.
That the men ruled of this dominant supreme, leaving the ladies end up doing nothing for this. Nothing of this base, end up becoming a second class of the wealthy lifestyle for this. The ladies end up turning their blind eyes for all of this, while husbands of the wealthy elite end up busy with their business for that. Rufus case taught Rose never ever to do everything in public, which is going to be causing a social shame for this. That she grew up in this quasi social etiquette matters in a time that women are not allowed to do everything in public for this. That manners has been effective and ineffective for all the good reasons for that. Even her annoyance towards Rose is a burning off it. Just a co-op relationship, not the bonding one, but the hatred for that. Rose's case wanted to rebel of irresponsibility, but unfortunately that she couldn't, because she's engaged to be married. She's only 17 to Carlton Hockley. Cal for short for that. Knowing that it wasn't a good match for this, but her mother desperately needed money and needed money to survive, allowing the Potato family to have a good life, not to be ruined for that. Sorry, thought for this. Apparently, both Cal and Ruth control Rose non-stop for this. That she got insane, nothing for this and nothing for that at all. Even people might in the mind now, knowing that women have manners for this, but lacking it will be another story for that. Knowing that high society is a quasi ruined rule for this. Even you're born with a silver spoon or not. Knowing the fact that young women ended up becoming mothers, of teaching daughters, of becoming a society lady, a good grace of choice. Even the matching, not to match for this, but the young ladies of high society have to be marrying by wealthy men of their social status for that. Either way around. Nowadays, we all see arrogance where all the wealthy people stands up. But either way, it might be the arrogance of the elite for that. Here, some born with it, and others don't. Even the sets of rules for young women of high society, either way, it might be a dashing effect of it. Well, let me get back to this modern door dynamic. That, knowing the desperation that Rose wanted away from her fiance and mom, was a strict balance of this control limit, in which that Rose doesn't want to be part of. That she want to be free of this guilty cage and free from everything to be hold of. Knowing that Rose couldn't stand of this social status of this elite constructive, that she cannot stand up anymore. The only way that Rose wanted to get out of this mess is to get out of freedom for that. In which she tried to do for this, of this a day in life for that matter, of this constructed rules of high society manners of good grace for that, in which that she cannot even stand up for that. Even though she want to be free and free to do whatever that she wants to. Even so that she wanted to rebel of her life away from this constructed matter of responsibilities and everything else to be sedated of. Even so that Rose want to be an independent woman instead of getting tied down for that. Either way, that responsibility of a young woman of this moral status is a well off of a matter of advice. Rose, in this case, wants to rebel for this. And apparently she did. Letting the control power and automatically die down on them. Embarrassing to say, Rose walk away from this high society life by leaving her mother behind, as well of her fiance too. Knowing that everybody in life getting what they deserve, and deserve a lot more for that. But Rose, she got away with this, and with his case, her chances of high society has now been gone and forgotten. When Ruth looked at a mother and daughter reunited, knowing that Ruth had lost the chance of not her daughter Rose, but getting back a social elite for this. Since Ruth had already gotten what she deserved in the end, and ended up destitute of misery. Knowing the aftermath that rose for this case had a last chance to see her mother ever again, knowing that both mother and daughter hadn't seen or hear from each other ever again. Now that Ruth ended up destitute for this, her chances of this high society life has now been gone and forgotten. As a rose for this case, she got away from this constricted social elite, and her freedom has been awarded towards her, that she got away with this and got away with this good and forgotten. Rose's life, her life has been full of adventures for her, and adventures of her own life, that she could take her own destiny and let it free and forgotten. Of chances for that she riding horse on the beach or the pier, flying airplane, caught fish, becoming an actress in her later life, as even going to the circus, or starting a family on her own. And that's the end of this psychological statement of this mother and daughter bonding for that. Well, as you know, this is Mother's Day. It's time for all you to spend time with a woman of your life, which is your mother. Your mother is for that. So please, don't take everything for granted on Mother's Day. So please, show respect for all the women out there. By cherish or loving them very much for this. That you might be strange towards your mothers, or something else like that. So either way, please, spend time with them. And don't even forget that for a harsh reminder for this. So that'll be all for now. Until then. Oh, wait a minute.